Hey guys, got another knife review for you today. Right now I'm going to be taking a look at the Strider PT. This is the Tanto version of the Strider PT. Now first I want to start off saying this is my first Strider knife. So it's my first, real high-end knife, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It's by far my favorite knife out of all my other knives. I picked this up at the East Coast Custom Knife Show this past weekend, which I absolutely enjoyed. Had a lot of opportunities to meet with some custom knife makers, and it was just real interesting being able to see the people who design the knives that we all love and enjoy. And I picked up this knife from the guys at True North Knives. Real nice group of guys, real helpful, and really kind. And they actually gave me a discount on this one right here. It was originally $325, but they just gave it to me for $300. And just a real bunch of, real nice group of guys. I recommend you checking out their website. If you're looking for Striders, they have a very large selection of Strider knives, and also Zabenzas and all kinds of custom, knives. They got a real nice selection over there, so I'd check them out. Anyway, so back to the Strider. You can see that this is the Coyote Brown handled Tanto version with the Digicam finish, which I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I love the finish on this blade. The Digicam is just absolutely awesome looking. It's sort of like a textured finish. I believe it's laser etched onto the blade, and it's just incredible looking. I absolutely love it. This has the titanium flamed handle with the pocket clip. It's extremely tight pocket clip, but that's all right. No big deal. As I said, this is the Coyote Tan or Coyote Brown G10. The fit and finish on this knife is absolutely incredible. There's no seam between the G10 and the titanium. It just feels like it's all one solid piece. You can't even feel the seam between the two materials. It's got some incredible jimping up top. It's absolutely the most aggressive jimping I've ever seen on a knife. It extends all the way back onto the handle, and then almost midway to the spine of the blade. And it's just real nice, coarse cut, aggressive jimping. It just absolutely gives you a great hold, great purchase on your knife. It's got a hole cut out here, sort of like a spider hole, in addition to a thumb stud. So you have two options for deployment. You can use the thumb hole, or you can actually just push on the actual thumb stud itself, and either way will get the job done. The thumb stud doubles as the stopper. There's no internal stop pin, so the thumb stud actually rests against the titanium, and that's your stop bar when the knife is opened. So that's pretty interesting, dual purpose there. Let me go over some of the specs real quick. It's got a 2 7/8 inch blade with a cutting surface of 2 1/4 inches. It's got an overall length of 6 7/16 of an inch, with a closed length of 3 5/8. So it's really a tiny knife. I didn't really realize how small these PTs were until I actually started playing with them in person. But they're really tiny. I mean, here's my finger, and you can see how small it is closed. I'll do a comparison in a minute. But one thing I'm having difficulty finding out, if anyone knows, you can let me know, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of blade steel is used on this knife. I know a lot of people say the majority of, you know, the blade steel used in Strider's knives are S30V, and on this particular model there's no marking on the blade denoting what kind of steel they used. But on the True North Knives website, on the description of this knife, they say it's S35VN. So I'm just trying to figure out whether it's S35VN or S30V. Not that it makes a huge difference, but I just would like to know. So if anyone knows what kind of steel they use on this particular model, I would appreciate giving me the heads up on that. It's got a very lightweight profile here because of the materials used. You know, you got your G10, then you got your titanium. It's only 2.4 ounces, which is extremely lightweight. Very pocketable, very carryable, and it's just an awesome all-around knife. It's gonna be a everyday carry for me for quite a while. It's definitely suitable for that that role. It's got just an incredible look that's beyond anything I've ever owned before. With this titanium flaming going on here, it's awesome. You get these you know, cool colors. You got some reds and purples and blues in there, and then with the Digicam finish, I don't know how good you can pick this up on camera, but it actually has got a few different colors going in there. It's got like a silver tone, it's got some grays, and about 2 different shades of brown. Now on the frame lock here you have some pretty aggressive jimping, which allows you to gain a nice purchase of the frame there, but it's also got an actual cutout. You can see that it's kind of beveled like the G10 over here, so it makes it that much easier to engage the lock and close the knife. So I'm just going to give you a little bit closer look at this knife so you can just see how beautiful it is. Open the blade up. You can see how aggressive that jimping is there. And something that I actually like, the attention to detail here, is that if you'll notice, they have jimping running all the way down the rear of this blade. So this is when it's engaged, when it's open, that's all the jimping that's going to actually be, you know, shown on the top. Then you have a couple more ramps of jimping going down the back of the blade that aren't even going to be engaged when it's open. So they just did that to make the knife look a little bit better aesthetically when it's in its closed position, which I totally can appreciate, because it definitely makes it look that much more aggressive and just awesome looking, in my opinion. The pivot here is interesting in that it's not actually a screw. It's got this tri-hole thing going on here, so if I ever had to adjust it, I'm not sure. I probably would have to buy a special tool. I kind of wish it would just be you know, Torx or whatever, but that's not the case, which is alright, because this thing came absolutely rock solid, no play, up, down, sideways, and it was a little sticky, the lock bar, to disengage at first, but I've worn it out a little bit, and I also I don't know if you can see that there on the tang. I took took a Sharpie pen and I colored on the tang, and I got that from Orimoto watching one of his videos, and it actually makes it a lot easier to disengage the lock bar. So if you're having issues with that, I would strongly recommend you do that. It'll definitely help you out. You also got some jimping over here on the end of the knife, which just makes, adds some nice aesthetic touches to it. All your hardware is blackened out. You can see that on the thumb stud here, the Digicam pattern is even continued onto the thumb studs, which is just, awesome. And actually, you can see when in person, you can see the rest of the blade, the tang. It's actually got the Digicam pattern on it also, even though you're not going to see it because it's covered by the handle. You can see the Strider logo there. So yeah, this is my first Strider, and I'm definitely excited about it, impressed, and this is not going to be my last Strider, not at all. In fact, I've got an SNG on the way, so stay tuned for that one. I'll be giving a review on that. And one other thing I wanted to touch on, whenever I've been watching videos on Striders, it seems like, to me, something that made me hesitant about the brand in general was the build quality and the quality control issues. There seems like there's a lot of videos out there of people complaining about the lockups on their Striders and how, it's loose, and for a $300, $400, $500 knife it should be solid. But I just got to put my own 2 cents there. This is my first and only Strider as of yet, and it's absolutely solid, so I can't really go off of that because I've only had one. But at the knife show, I must have played with a couple dozen different Striders, and every single one of them was extremely tight tolerances, extremely well built and solid. This thing was like a tank. It's just, it absolutely feels like the most solid knife I own. So I mean, I just feel like the negatives may be overrepresented in videos on YouTube. So I just would recommend you to, if you're hesitant upon what you're hearing and seeing in videos, I wouldn't be, because maybe they were at one time, but at least from this one and the ones I played with at the knife show, they seem like they were all very well made and great quality. So let me just real quick run through a size comparison here. Okay, so here's going to be it next to the Boker Albatross. You can see that pretty much the same size lengthwise. Obviously not the same size widthwise, but you can see the lengths are pretty much the same. They're both 6 and change. And here's another Boker, the Boker Anzo 67. You can see that this one is quite a bit longer than the Strider. So that's just a quick point of comparison. But that's pretty much all I have for this knife. It's an awesome knife. Like I said, by far my favorite knife thus far. And I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just please leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you with the answer if I know it. And thank you for watching. Please like the video and also subscribe to my channel for some more knife reviews. Thanks.